Good to see everybody again, too. So welcome back.
Thanks a lot, Sean. I'm going to start off asking about Coach. I know you know him well. You know what he's all about. But given the unprecedented circumstances that we're facing, assuming all goes well and we end up playing in Orlando, what will that evaluation process be like as you look at him and the coaching search moving forward?
Yeah, I think the evaluation process, is ongoing, right? It started quite some time ago. I will say there's never quite like a time like the present that we're in. It doesn't make it easier for any of us. But I will say what I've witnessed so far with Jacques and the group here, the empathy that they've shown, and their care, and honestly, selflessness has been amazing. So, I love what I've seen. These guys are working hard and they're giving everything they possibly can to, for the last 3 months and whatever lies ahead.
Hey, Sean. It's Brian Lewis. How you doing?
Good, Brian. How are you?
Right. I suppose with how quickly, I guess, the news of DeAndre and Spencer came, things obviously changed pretty quickly. So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, how are you and yours? And do you expect, or have you gotten any word of any other players that are either positive, players or staff that are either positive or are opting out and having second thoughts about going through with the restart in Orlando?
Sure. Brian, I appreciate that. Thank you. And same to you. I hope everybody on this call is as fit and well as possible, considering the circumstances. Look, this is unprecedented times where things are changing, not by the hour, but by the minute, right? When we get new news, I think it's a country and a world as a whole here where, I think every news channel you turn on, there's numbers that are rising and rising rapidly and so forth. And some people are doing a good job of wearing protection and making sure that you have the appropriate PPE and so forth and social distancing. And I think we've seen in other places where, maybe getting a little bit harder hit, around the country and around the world that, we need a reminder that this thing is here to stay and it's going to be here for a while. So we all need to do our part. Regarding our team here, look, I feel terrible for these guys. We always comment on how we approach this as a family, and health and safety have been number one priority through this entire pandemic, and will continue to go be the priority long before, hopefully, there's a vaccine and we can move forward here. Regarding the particular players that have tested positive and decided to opt out, our job here is to support them and their families in any way possible. And we realize it's completely their decision. This is voluntary. This is by no means mandatory that, people show up in Orlando and in the bubble. And everybody has their own reasons as to, why this may not be a fit for them, or where their needs may be a little bit different from others. Some people have families, some people have extended families that are affected by this and so forth. So, I don't want to be the one to sit here and judge and say, you guys should do this, you can look past this or look over that. I think this is a time where we need to show unparalleled amount of empathy across the board, across the organization, and I think that's what we've done. Look, I have no reason to believe that at this point that more people will opt out and so forth. But again, this is a very fluid time, and I think we just have to understand that and make arrangements when these type of things happen, and we adapt and we move along as best we can.
Thanks.
No problem.
Hey, Sean, it's Bruce Beck. I want to wish you and your family well, first of all. Secondly, how do you view the opportunity of this restart? It's a much different team than you could have had, obviously, in Orlando. How do you look at it for your ball club in terms of what you hope to accomplish and how you approach the whole thing?
Yeah, Bruce, that's a great question. Without a doubt, this is going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge for all 22 teams, and to be quite frank, all 30 teams that are going through, whether they're going to Orlando or they're not, finding the appropriate amount of time to practice and compete and develop and get better. that's really been our motto for the last 4 years, is taking advantage of every opportunity we can. And we look at this as another one of those opportunities. Obviously we won't have our team at full strength without a doubt, but it's a great way to evaluate players moving forward, maybe some new players coming in, and what the roster may look like, in 3, 4, 6 months from now, sort of thing. So, I think there's no price that can be put on, a team dinner. There's no, a small group outing, some sort of team camaraderie and so forth. So these things will build not only amongst players, but amongst staff and so forth and the like. So I do look forward to those opportunities. I look forward to maybe some of the one-on-ones. I look forward to the small group settings. And then just being in Orlando with that group of 22 teams and all the staff there. Obviously, we're not quite sure how much, if any, interaction there will be other than on the game days. But it does give us all opportunities to come together. And I think the NBA is a family right now, and we all need each other. And the competitive balance is probably a little bit pushed to the side right now when we're looking at some of the issues in society and getting through this pandemic together.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean, it's Alex. When we talked to you back in April, you said how you would, full trust in the league with whatever restart plan they have. But, you also touch on, obviously, the Rison Case in Florida. I guess just what's your mindset at right now in terms of concern level and all that going into this?
Yeah. I would say, look,
Yep.
You guys muted? You good? Okay. I would say that I obviously have faith in, our commissioner and the league office. And I think Adam has shown how creative that group can be in terms of really getting things, back on track as best they can. Again, we do realize it's very fluid. It's just been no easy task at all. It's been great to see the collaboration between teams and the league office. And I've been on many, many of these calls where we've been throwing out ideas, and as crazy as they may sound, some of them have sort of come to light, so it's great that, everybody's had a chance to collaborate. I think no matter what the outcome was going to be, whether it's 22 teams, 20 teams, 16 teams, all 30 teams, and whatever the structure of play and wherever it was going to be, there's risk involved. I think we all know that. And, Adam has said that there is risk in whatever we do. We hope we can all mitigate this as much as we can by observing the protocols and so forth. But again, you look and try and evaluate what this does for not only the game of basketball, but for society, and in some form or fashion that this gives, our players and the NBA a platform to get back to work, but also to stand up and speak on, again, whether it's social issues or just give society something to watch on TV, I think are going to be hugely beneficial.
Thank you.
Hi, Sean. It's Tina Cervasio from Fox 5 New York. Thank you so much for doing this today.
Pleasure.
Sort of a two-part question. What kind of a system do you have in place if players do test positive down the road while you're in Orlando and you may lose them, they may opt to leave, as far as either using your G League team or whatever the case may be? And if players continue to test, does that add to any doubt that the season would even be completed at all?
You mean test if they continue to test positive, correct, Tina? Yeah.
Yes, when you guys get to Orlando.
Yeah. So there's a group. We are, like every team, we have a group, a best available group. So whether that's coming from the G League or coming from players that were in the league the last couple of years and haven't caught on with the team right now. So we have a list, and we'll work through that if need be. It'd be difficult for me to say what happens when a bunch of players, hopefully don't, but test positive and then decide that they're opting out and leaving. I think that would be something that will be reevaluated by the league office down the line here. I hope it doesn't get to that. I think none of us want that. Part of the reason for coming together first for these 2 weeks of, one-on-one sort of voluntary workouts in our own markets is to sort of get through some of that. Hopefully, if there is positive testing, we can, put that behind us as we move into Orlando, because we've got guys in the clear as the team embarks down to Orlando.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, Sean, it's Brian Mahoney from the AP. How are you?
Good, Brian. How are you?
Good. It's weird to be talking to a GM on the record on July 1st. Usually you guys are avoiding us today.
It's a little early, right?
Yeah. In Spencer's story the other day, he talked about an original plan to go to the Orlando bubble early. Was there ever an idea that you guys wouldn't come to New York? Can you kind of clarify what he meant? And did plans change along the way or anything like that?
Yeah, sure. We debated as a team, as a group, and quite frankly as a league about should we not come to Brooklyn and New York, and should we go to Orlando early? And we took a poll, and that included the players as well, and we as well as doctors and performance team and everybody. And we said, look, it's probably best that we come to Brooklyn. Guys are going to be able to be with their loved ones, significant others, families for another couple of weeks. We will be able to do a better job of quarantining here, where we have our own facility. We know exactly how it's being cleaned and the protocols that are going through that. And I think we just have, honestly, the facilities, would be a far upgrade if we had stayed in Brooklyn, which we chose to do. Hindsight, I think we could all say, well, maybe things could have been differently had we gone down to Orlando early or gone somewhere else. But at the end of the day, this is a pandemic that I don't think anybody can quite put their fingers on right now, and how it's being spread and so forth leave a lot of questions.
Sean, Bob Windrum from Nets Daily. Question, what sustains you throughout this? You've been doing this now for almost 4 months, and I know usually you speak about the culture sustaining you, but how about personally? What has sustained you throughout this whole crisis?
It's honestly, it's been tough, Bob. I'm not gonna lie, but it's been tough for everybody here. And I think what sustains me is the people that we have in our organization, and that starts from the very top in our ownership group, the amazing support that they've shown. But since the facility's been back open, and I come in and I see the people here that have sacrificed so much, not only in these 4 months, but in the last sort of 4 years, and put the Nets and us as a priority over, to be quite frank, themselves in a lot of different ways. That sustains me. There's an incredible opportunity for us that lies ahead, and people realize that. But again, it's coming in every day and seeing the care and empathy that these people have put forward. That certainly does. Ultimately, it's our job, Bob, and if there's any way we can do something here, then use this platform, use this opportunity wisely from a player, from an organization, from a front office standpoint. We certainly will.
Thank you.
You guys tired of these Zoom chats like I am, or are you okay? So.
I think we're doing the raise hand function, but Eli told me to go, so now I'm going. First, Sean, just, Spencer said his travel to Orlando is in question. Is he going?
That would be up in the air yet. I don't know. Look, I would hope these guys decide to go, but I hope they decide to do what's best for them and for their health and family first and foremost. So if they decide to go to Orlando, we know we will be taking best care possible of them. But at the end of the day, it goes back to what I said before. Everybody has a different set of circumstances that are in their lives that they're dealing with. Whether that's family issues, or just the health and wellness of themselves. So, and again, we need to support those guys, whatever decision they make.
And since I believe you're supposed to put in the travel party today, what time should he be making that decision by?
Well, I think we're going to leave those options up to the guys as we move forward. I'm not going to use today as a cutoff date per se. I mean, we're going to be able to adjust the travel party if guys do tend to opt out or decide that this is not for them. Obviously, we can use COVID replacements down the line here, all the way through Orlando. So there are opportunities for us. So these guys are, Spencer is on the travel party list as it stands now.
And then one more testing related question. The protocol says that guys will stay in isolation. I believe it's for at least a week and then have to test negative twice. As you get closer to that time with continuing to test players, if they test positive now and you don't have that timeline left to be able to isolate for 7 days, what happens in that circumstance? Can they join you down the road? What's the process?
Yeah, they will be able to join us down the road. That we will be able to get them to Orlando if a couple of things happen. One, they say that they want to do that, and two, the team says, okay, from a scheduling standpoint, it makes sense. The longer, obviously, or the closer we get to July 7th, our departure date, and heaven forbid, guys get testing positive there, it obviously puts them in jeopardy and so forth. But again, some of these guys are, asymptomatic. Others have some slight symptoms. So everybody's quite different here. And I don't want to talk for our players, but that's across the board. So we just have to treat everybody on an individual basis.
Hey, Sean, how's it going? Christian here.
Good. How you doing, Christian?
Good. First, I'm going to follow up on a Grady's question about Jacques Frans. Obviously, it's a tough situation for not just him, but everybody in the league, but specifically for Jacques. Is it more so a win and loss type of thing, or what exactly would you need to see from him to kind of know what his odds are of retaining his job at this point?
Yeah, I think it's completely unfair to be saying this is going to be about wins and losses at this point. I think Jacques has been a prominent part of this organization for the last 4 years. So I think we know what Jacques is about and the type of person he is and the character and the leader that he is. So I think for us this is going to be about we continue to get he gets to know the new players, continue to develop relationships with them, not only the new players but the existing group, and then we just see what happens down the line. And I've had plenty of great conversations with Jacques. I mean, probably too many for his liking, since we're on either Zoom chats or FaceTime. I feel like it's 5 or 6 times a day together, but he and I have a very close relationship, and we have a very honest and open relationship too.
Sure. And second follow-up question, just obviously, it seems like you and Tyler have been playing this game of cat and mouse for a few years now. So what led to the decision now to bring him on, and what do you expect to see from him?
Yeah, I think bringing a guy like Tyler in gives us another opportunity to evaluate. There's no secret that, we tried to onboard Tyler, several years ago. It didn't work out. But again, I think we have to look at Orlando as an opportunity to evaluate, like you mentioned staff before, but players as well. Everybody uses this opportunity to show what they can, and then we try and look and see how we evaluate them and what the makeup of next year's team looks like because of what we've seen, not only in Orlando but over the past summer and the work that these guys have all put in.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Sean, Bob Windrum again. What's the draft preparations look like right now? Obviously, I don't think you're certain yet whether you're going to have a combine or not. So how are you approaching this, and what do you anticipate your needs might be when it gets to October 15th, which is now obviously a long way away?
Yeah. Well, as you mentioned, the timing of this, I think that's given all 30 teams, some more preparation time, more time to evaluate. The evaluation structure and schedule obviously looks quite different with, no Chicago Combine right now. We've been doing the Zoom meetings with the draft eligible players and so forth. So it's taken on a different tone. It's definitely a different look and feel, but we're all going through this at the same time together. So it's, how do we navigate this, and how do we come out of this with making hopefully the best sound decisions that we can. I think our scouts have done a heck of a job, over the last few years. So giving them more time hopefully can only benefit us. So I'm looking forward to really getting set for an October draft, and we'll go from there. But in terms of our needs, we never quite know in terms of until we really get to the day, like what the team may need at that particular point in time.
Hey, Sean, Jen Williams, Fox 5 New York. Quick question for you. The league's announced that it's going to be doing a lot to support the Black Lives Matter movement in Orlando. What kind of conversations have you had with the team, with staff, and how important has it been to have one another during this time?
Yeah, I couldn't even put I don't think there's words that can explain how important this is. So I would be doing it completely injustice. But I will say that, the organization's already put out a statement. We stand behind that and saying enough is enough, to be quite frank. And, I sincerely not only hope that there's going to be change, but there will be change, without a doubt. I think this has been an amazing time for us as an organization and us as a group to grow stronger and closer together. Some of the stories that I've been privy to and the conversations that we have had, not only in a one-on-one setting, but in small breakout groups and also company-wide. We've been very fortunate to have some really nice fireside chats, per se, that have been led, by our ownership group. And, we've had Van Jones on there to talk to the entire organization. He's also spent some time with just the players. I know we've had a smaller group where it's, been Jacques and the coaches and myself with the players, and then smaller groups. And I know the players have also had their own conversations. I've certainly enjoyed these conversations, and I mean that in a sense that it's been educational for me. It's been educational for our whole group. To be quite frank, it's about time that society in general stands up, and the Brooklyn Nets, without a doubt, will be supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. Not only now, it's not a fleeting moment. This is something that is here to stay, and I look forward to seeing change.
Sean, Ian Begley from SNY. Thanks very much for doing this. I'm glad you and your family are safe and healthy. On Kyrie Irving, has he told you guys officially whether he's going to go or he's not going to go? And I guess what's his status in terms of being in Orlando with you guys?
Sure. Kyrie is not going to go. He and I have had those conversations, maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago now, and ongoing conversations. But for what's best for not only him, but some of the other guys that are going to be rehabbing and so forth, the best thing is for them to not attend Orlando and to rehab and to continue that process back in Brooklyn or wherever they may be right now.
And he reportedly had expressed some concern about restarting the season in Orlando for several different reasons, including the idea that it wouldn't be the best thing for the social justice movement currently in the country. Had you talked to him about that in your conversations about whether he's coming or not, or just in general?
Well, I've had conversations about it with both those things, but I do think it was important for Kyrie and for all our guys. They have a platform and they're able to voice whether there's concerns, frustrations, and really to have a conversation starter. So, I think this is what makes the NBA great, where we have players that are able to, get on a platform and at least have these conversations and spark a conversation. So, I support our guys that want to stand up for this, not only this cause, but the many causes they've done in the past. So, the fact that Kyrie in particular did this, but, I think we've seen multiple of our guys stand up, whether that's through social media or articles that have been written. Garrett Temple for one. So again, we support our players in their endeavors for sure.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean, Sopan Deb here from the New York Times. Was there ever a discussion once Spencer and DeAndre tested positive and once Wilson opted out about not sending the team to Orlando? Was that ever a consideration?
No, that's that's never even been a discussion. I think, look, we have a job to do. Again, we have to bring a team to Orlando. We will bring a team to Orlando. We will go down there and we will compete. That's our jobs here. I will say it's completely up to those individuals as to determine whether they want to go for a variety of different reasons. And again, we stand by those guys, and I won't get into details, but we'll obviously support them.
Hey guys, last question now.
Oh, there you go. Sorry, Eli, just saw your message. Hey, Sean, good to see you. In terms of Kevin, just want to know, do you have any update on how he's doing, his rehab, all that? And I know, were you in touch with him about his decision to not go to Orlando, as he said, I think, on a podcast yesterday?
Yeah, definitely. So I've definitely been in touch with Kevin. I've seen him numerous times, over the summer, and watched the rehabilitation process and watched him, getting back out there and so forth. Look, I don't want to speak for him, but he seemed to be in good spirits. He's obviously very aware of everything that's going on, whether it's pandemic and some of the issues going on in society. We've had great conversations about all of that. He continues to be a very loud voice in terms of where we're going in the future, what we're doing, and I involve him and like the other players and staff and how we'll continue to build this team and how we move forward. So, he's always said he's looking forward to getting on the court at Barclays, and I think all of us on this call, myself included, everybody in the organization is looking forward to that time as well.
Thanks.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. All the best. Be safe. And if we can do anything for you and your families, please let us know. But look forward to seeing you in person.
Thanks, Sean.
You too, Sean.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you, Sean.